Hello everyone, it's Michael Mechanical here. I'm actually feeling a bit better today, maybe not perfect. Half my head hurts. I'm sort of noticing still when I swallow, that's what I was just checking to see. Pain in my throat. Still don't feel perfect. I feel like I can breathe a bit better today, it's a bit more comfortable, but the head is still there. That's been persisting for a few days. But anyway, the point I want to get to today is not to talk about bad things. I want to talk about something cool. As you can see, here's the motor, and here is the sump on, and it's already, tacked in place. I don't know if anything's gone right or wrong here, but yeah, this is all together. I just ripped a piece of silicone off. I'm just checking the little gaps in between to see how well it's sealed up. Here I was having issues, and you can probably see the black stuff there. That's oil. Yeah, it looks like it's sealed up pretty nice. I had to clean the surfaces, except I didn't have to touch the sump because the sump was in that Glad wrap bag there. All the connecting rod studs have been replaced. All the old ones are right there on the bench, pretty much 2, 4, 6. I think that is, yeah, it's 6, because 2 of them are gone. I don't know where they are, and those are the 6 that were in the engine. I just didn't want to take a risk on them, and I put new ones in. I still have leftovers, but now it's time to really get this thing together. Not everything's going to be perfect when I put this together, unfortunately. Like you can see, there's a bit of grease and grub on the back of that housing there. I don't have equipment to properly clean everything and make everything petite and perfect. I've still got top end work to do. I've still got to consider whether I want to pull the front crank seal out again and replace the spline, but also put in some silicone on the spline when it goes in, and also on the keyway, because the engines tend to look like they're leaking oil from the front, and I don't want an engine oil leak. This one was leaking, and I think the oil leak on this one was the spline, because there's no other points that it could be leaking from unless I didn't do the sump properly and didn't put enough silicone on. This engine here didn't leak from the sump initially, and all the oil leaks this had has been everywhere else, because compression stuff has been causing issues. And this one here is pretty much a complete recon, with little bits and pieces done here and there, little bits that haven't really been done well, but good enough to be used for a very long time. So I'm looking forward to dropping that thing in here when it's ready to go, but I'm going to have to start putting, not today, today's way too hot. I'm going to have to start putting as much of that together as possible. But as I said to my dad, because this is the really tricky thing, that has a special head gasket in it, and if anything goes wrong, it's not like I can get it within a week or two, the head gasket. It'll take me a month just to get a head gasket for this, so I might have to buy spare head gaskets as need be if I'm concerned of blowing a head gasket. Pretty sure it won't come to that. It's unlikely to have another head gasket failure. I'm also thinking of just getting as many of the new hoses as I need and putting it all together. But if this thing runs reliably and does a really good job and doesn't consume much oil, I might end up having to try and see if I can do some courier work again once I get the tray fixed, and maybe do the front suspension. I think the gearbox will be okay for a bit longer anyway, and that's something I've got to save up to do properly. Yeah. It's all really interesting how this is all coming together. I think I'd be okay. Actually, not. I probably would be okay to come to this gearbox here and weld it up a little bit and just, shim it a little bit or do something with that. Maybe even some glue or something, and then just emery it a little bit, because when that doesn't seat properly, I think it doesn't run true, it doesn't run perfectly. Because that does hold some load, not much, but it does hold some load. It's like a support point, and when it wears out, then that causes issues. It has me asking questions now. But there's lots and lots of little things I've got to do. I still got to clean the engine bay, and this and that. But I'm looking forward to putting this together and having finally a reliable engine in this freaking car. Because this one will run again easily now that I know the severity of the damage thus far, but because I actually got low on oil, I would not take a chance on just fixing the things that I know that broke on here, because there's going to probably be something else has gone wrong too, if it did end up, intermittently having an oil starvation issue, in which case the bottom end might have some bearings that have been damaged, and then that will just accelerate the wear and tear and cause issues. I think it might have had piston valve collision this time around, but I do know for certain there was no way I was getting away from the piston valve collision the last time something went wrong. So it should have snapped roller rockers, and because it didn't snap the roller rockers, I was like, oh, okay, sweet. It didn't do anything. And I took a chance on it, and that chance was on the 12th of December, and this year, well, things went wrong, didn't it? Like a week ago, I think. Or, no, more than a week ago, maybe a fortnight ago. Within a week or two, this went wrong. So the last things I've got left to do is my exhaust manifold. I have to get my exhaust manifold out, and I have to make 3 studs for a turbocharger. I'll have to clean that one up. Here's the bar, the threaded bar. I've got to make 3 studs up to hold the turbocharger to the exhaust manifold, and then I have to bolt that up when it's going on the engine with the head on there and everything. And that's pretty much most of that done. I might go over the outlet manifold one more time, but not today because it's a lot of work. It is really a lot of work. They want like $100, I think, just to machine this on that one surface. But also the outlet here, I could look into potentially cleaning that up. I should actually just see what I can do, really, because I just want this to be nice and neat and tidy and clean and work well. It's not perfect, obviously, and I don't feel like I could get it perfect in a backyard environment. I feel like you need specialized environment to do the jobs, because the specialized environment means that all your tools and everything is neat, tidy, and you have the equipment to just do the task consistently and well. On the other hand, I mean, we can look at the car and it's a bit of a mess, and it has its issues with the vinyl cracking up and stuff. I really want this car to run well, and I want it to be reliable. It's a 55 kilowatt engine apparently, but this feels a lot more powerful than 55 from my perspective. I could be right, could be wrong. But there's the pump that's going to be going back on. I'm going to have to use those injector rails because I don't have any new ones. And I just wanted to make this video because I just want to reassure people that this is actually happening. I have actually been recording videos, and I have videos recorded on the camera of what I've done. I'm going to have to definitely edit them down because that took heaps of time. Those bolts around the edge here take so long to get in. It's not funny. I even ended up using my ratchet machine thingy. Yeah, not a ratchet machine, but you know, my torque driver. I don't even know what the thing's called. Angle drill. I ended up using this. I ended up using that to put all the bolts in at 10 millimeters. Okay, so that's pretty much the good news with this. It's pretty much all ready to go. I went over all the bolts and I put a mark on all of the bolts in the bottom end. That way, if this ever does actually come apart again, if the marks are still there, people can see that this has been touched before. If it's not me that touched it, someone else, they know, okay, this has been done. There was 78 for the mains, and then for the small end, I don't know, actually they call them big end, I think, big end bearings. They are 46 Newton meters. So that's what that is. I even got this engine on the ground. I'm not happy with it because this is starting to rust up a little bit. I can see the surface rust on that. And that's one of the reasons why I'd like to hurry up with this, pack that up, and when I'm done with that, I want to clean these up. Clean them up as best I can, WD-40 them, and then just wrap them up properly, good and proper. Maybe put some old bolts in with some washers like that. Put something together that these can just be picked up and carried away or whatever very easily. Because they are good little engines, yes, but they're also old school tech. I think the blocks can be used regardless of the time error. I think that their heads could be changed, but then you have some ancillaries on the side that you have to change and modify and stuff to get it to be a bit more modern. Because these things could run for a very long time. They could be very reliable. I want to see what I can do though, because regardless if I get the motor together and do all the work, as you can see, these pipes here are quite distorted, and I talked to my dad about it, and we're going to change the flow rate of them by accident, just to give them a bit more structure. So we're going to get a stainless steel pipe, and what we're going to do, a stainless steel tube or whatever, we're just going to use it to shape it and keep the shape, so when you put the clamp on, they don't just crush, because they have been crushed so much, and by inconsistent, you know, ways of holding the pipes on, they're just not doing a great job. So if we get a piece of stainless steel tube, drill it to a good enough dimension that it works, and make it have like a little flare on the edge that we can hammer it in when it's nice and straight, that hole's nice and straight. With like we make a punch up to get that round, and then we have a special maybe punch to push them in, sort of thing. Or maybe the same punch to make them round could potentially be double-ended or something, I don't know, and then you just push them in. I wouldn't know how it would work, but we can try to do that we can keep the structure of those and still put the same sort of pressure on that we normally do, and then they just don't deform at all. But it also presents a bad, the negative side of doing that is it means that any of the coolant in there you can't get out completely, because it's going to hold it in at a certain point. But it will change the flow rate of the heater, which is not what we really want, but at the same time it's not going to be by much that it should be okay. It should be okay because it's to give that structure, because I don't know if we can replace those or not, or if we can even cut them off and put new ones on. I don't know what we can do there. But there's a lot of little things that I would have liked to replace that might be leaking, that might not be leaking. But it's money, 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 and I don't have money, money, money to do this stuff. But we're getting there, guys. I'm just making my point. I'm just saying we're getting there. This is coming along well. I got to get that manifold, probably, if it's that one, and get it ready to put on the engine. I think I actually have another one somewhere, because I think I have the one from the wrecking yard, the one from this engine here on the ground, and then I have Dad's one, which is for a intercooler. Actually not. If they're up here, there it is. If this is a good one or not. It looks like garbage, because it doesn't look like it's really been done anything decent with it. It looks clean internally. Yeah, I think this is the one I'll end up using, but I'll be cleaning it up a bit more than this. This is not finished, obviously. I got to do things bit by bit. I got to find my compounds like aluminum polish and polishing brushes and stuff, and just clean up everything, even the machining scourer of things, and then just polish everything, make everything as nice as I can possibly get it. Once it's all nice and neat, when it goes together, you guys can look at it and be like, wow, he did a really good job of this. Even cut and polish, because I really want to make this car look the best I can possibly get it, and just take it bit by bit at a time. And I also worked out one other thing, if anyone's curious. If I do this driveline thing, and I do the cab, and I paint everything, and make everything super nice and neat and tidy, and fix everything, absolutely everything up, the cab is going to just come off. I think that's what's going to happen next time, because it makes it easier to work on the driveline. Like, it's easier as it is now that I know how to do it consistently and easily enough. But what would make it so much easier, because the cab's going to have to come off anyway eventually, and it'll make things easier in the long term, is the chassis needs to be painted and cleaned up, and whatever needs to be done with the chassis needs to be done. The transmission is mounted to the engine, and you just have to drop 4 bolts from the engine and a few bolts from the transmission, and the thing can just be lifted almost straight out because of the tail shafts. You just pull the tail shafts out and bang, it comes out. Then you have the wheel axles and stuff. I don't think I could do it all here at home. It'd be too hard, but I'd try to see what I could organise to get organised to do this. Otherwise I just paint the cab. No one looks under the hood. I paint the cab. Anything in the engine bay here, I mean, I could try to neaten things up and make it look nice and tidy, but it's a little bit of work. You know, the fabric material there is my fault that it got damaged, and to get that off and put a new piece on is a lot of work. The brakes have to come off, the nuts and them might be able to stay, might have to come off, the line would have to come off. There's a lot of little things in between that cause issues. I was going to order a new one of these and a new one of them so I can get the thing light working again, but obviously I haven't bought it because I don't actually have the money to just go buy. It'd be so cool if you could just buy whatever you needed or wanted, but not everyone can afford that sort of a lifestyle. Not everyone can afford to do it. I don't expect everyone on this channel to be able to afford stuff. But in my case and scenario with the top end of the motor, something went wrong there. I don't think anything went wrong at the bottom end. I think it was just the top end. And I think that was prior damage from, that was from when the belt went. We still have the belt, and I think that's the belt there. This belt here, you see? I think the damage is from when this belt went. I don't believe this damage is new. I think that damage that caused this engine to fail is old. And it just took until this point for everything to just start letting go and breaking and falling apart. That looks weird. I wonder how that got damaged. That shouldn't be damaged. That is really weird. That shouldn't be even bent. Something must have hit it or been lifted or something went wrong there. But anyway, I'm going to leave the video at this, guys. The only thing I can really say about this engine is if I wanted to rebuild it, it does need a new shell. I'm not sure what the parts I can use from the engine are, but we'll have to wait and see. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being a part of this. I'm going to let you guys go, and I'm going to go and relax today because it's a bloody hot day. Tomorrow, I'm going to have to help my brother with an oil change on another hot day, and during the week, I have to get that engine ready to go and drop it back in here as quickly as I can and get that thing broken in as soon as possible and get it ready for work again. And then the following week, I have to pay for retro on my car. But anyway, take care everyone. Michael Mechanical.